Greenyards is the venue for our commentary match between Melrose and Gala in National 1. You can watch those highlights tomorrow, but let's tell you what happened briefly earlier on today. It was certainly a tense affair, as you would expect with a game between Melrose and Gala, and as usual there were talking points and plenty of effort from both sides. Melrose were very unlucky early on when they were denied a try after play was stopped following concern over Ross McConnell getting a ball in the face from this kick by Craig Dodds. Rolly Brett thought he was in for a try, but with player safety coming first, the try didn't count. But Melrose did score first when Aidan Cross cut inside to go over near the corner and break the deadlock after 25 minutes. A Craig Dodds penalty reduced the deficit, and then a Ewan Dodds pushover converted try put Gala in front, with another Dodds penalty making it 13-5 at the break. The strong wind favoured Gala in the second half, so it was an uphill struggle for Melrose, and Dodds punished them with another penalty to stretch their lead to 11 points. Play was held up for a few minutes after a collision between Melrose's John Cox and Gala's Gregor Mean, but pleased to report both were OK after receiving excellent treatment by the medical and support staff. Gala were looking confident on the ball, and when Tim McCavanagh crossed for a fairly simple try, again converted by Dodds, the game was virtually over. Craig Dodds bagged his fourth penalty to add to his two conversions, which ended the match, and bragging rights went to the Maroons. Final score, Melrose 5, Gala 26. It didn't really click today, did it?
No, definitely not. I mean, the last sort of three, the other two losses that we've had so far, there's maybe been excuses for this and that, but I think today that just Gala were better than us on the day, and like you say, maybe a couple of things just didn't click and it was disappointing in the end.
Very unlucky at the start, of course, because there was a try to be had there, and they had to bring it back for safety reasons, which everyone will understand. But it didn't help you at the end of the day.
100%. Take out your main line-out jumper. I was probably more annoyed about, but the player safety has to be first. Luckily, Ross and both John Cox that went off in the second half are both okay, so they're both in the changing room and both good.
Well, that's good news anyway to take out with that. Anything else you can take out of from a positive nature? I
think for us it's probably a turning point in the league season, that if we don't react to this, then our season could just probably just fall by the wayside, whereas hopefully this is, we look back in a month's time and we've really kicked on, and this is the loss has meant something, and it has meant something to the boys, and just hopefully we start improving for the remainder of the season.
Fraser Thompson was obviously playing down the Melrose Gala thing and saying, look, we're just going to concentrate on ourselves and prepare like any other game. But deep inside, it's still a Melrose Gala match.
Oh, it's always there, and I think you noticed that with the crowd that was here today. It was a really good crowd. A lot of noise coming from the stand, you've not had that for a while. So it still does mean a lot to people,
And you'll be pleased overall with the performance?
100%. Like I say, we managed that game really well early on. There was a strong wind out there. It might not have been very noticeable from one side, but there was a really strong wind. We kept the ball in our hand, we managed the game really well, and went in with a good lead, and then coming out in the second half we just needed to keep building, and we got that momentum and scored a couple of tries.
Over to Meggetland now, Boroughmuir against Kelso. Kelso been looking for that elusive win over the last few weeks. Did they get it today? Here's Hugh Brown.
Kelso were on a losing streak before today and were desperate to drag themselves out of the bottom half of Division 1. They started well with a score in just 5 minutes when a push forward was rewarded with a peach of a try from Keith Melbourne. However, that seemed to spark life into the home side, who strung together a string of intelligent passes but couldn't quite breach the Kelso defence. The closest they got to putting points on the board in the first half was a missed penalty in 33 minutes. So Kelso led 5-0 at half-time, and it took them only 2 minutes after the restart to increase that to 12-0. Dwayne Patterson touching down and then converting his own try. Boroughmuir's only points of the game saw Ian Martin score thanks to an inch-perfect pass from Callum Patterson which sent him clear. Throughout the match, Kelso seemed to have much more fuel in their tanks, despite having to do without their captain Andy Tate, who was red-carded against Ayr and received a 4-match ban. Substitute Robbie Tweedy went in for try number 3, and then with 6 minutes left, Melbourne got his second score to earn the men from Pointer Park the bonus point. And to complete a good win, a Matt Kennedy reverse switch to Gareth Walker left him in clear space to run in for the visitors' 5th try. Kelso will be hoping for more results like today to boost their league position, starting next Saturday at home to Dundee. Final score at Meggetland, Boroughmuir 5, Kelso 31.
I think we're in second gear the whole game. Talked about being ruthless and disciplined in that, and we weren't today. Five tries was fine, but we weren't at our best today. And we need to have a hard look at ourselves, to be fair. This is rugby, and you're going to miss key players throughout the season. We've got to be able to deal with that. But listen, we've came away and we've got 5 points away from home, but certainly not happy about the performance.
You're in the lower half of the division at the moment. I mean, obviously you want to be higher up. You've got to get wins to do that. This is a win.
Yeah, you're right. But as a coach, you've got to look at your performance, and yes, it's a win. We'll take that away from home, but we've got to get better. And we were unlucky against Heriots last week, but we played 10 times better. So we've got to be ruthless, and we can't just accept winning, because that'll not always cut it. So we've got to make sure we've got our performance right. And today we kind of drifted away from our game plan. Our structure started off really well, and then just went into our shells. Luckily enough, our defence stood up fairly well throughout the game. But ball in hand, we were frantic and kind of unstructured, which is not really the way we want to play.
So what do the boys need to do to improve then?
Just keep our head down, keep training. We're a young squad and we're developing, we're learning week in, week out, so we've just got to keep going week in, week out, and just keep looking to the next game, and every individual looking to get better.
It doesn't mean anything, but you were my man in the match today.
Thanks, I'll take that. And does that mean you buy me a pint, yeah?
Oh, you're kidding, aren't you? You're kidding.
No, listen, it was good to play in, but it was good to get the win. But on a serious note, we've got to get better. In the change room there, we've got to look at ourselves and just get the little things right, because we're talking about the same things every Tuesday, Thursday, discipline and whatnot. So we need to get better, and that's all there is to it, and we will.
In the other matches in National 1, some very interesting results. Cartha Queen's Park turning over Highland 24-20. Dundee beat Ayr 34-12. Heriots Blues took Biggar's unbeaten record by a point, 29-28 at Golden Acre. And Watsonians against Stirling Wolves, well, that was a narrow win for the visitors, 29 points to 27. International 2 and Peebles were back at the Gites after a big win against Falkirk last weekend. Bill Poulsen was there for us.
It was clear from the start that both Peebles and Gardonians were eager to play running rugby, and this made for an entertaining match in which a total of 8 tries were scored. After half an hour, Peebles led through 2 penalties by standoff Greg Rayburn, at which point home number 8, Roddy Guiney, broke from the side of a wall near the line for a try which Rayburn converted. 4 minutes later, a penalty by Alec Fraser put Gordonians on the scoreboard, and they narrowed the home lead in first half injury time when wing Athol Gorton intercepted it halfway and ran in a try which Fraser converted. Fraser levelled the score with his second penalty 5 minutes into the second half, but Peebles quickly regained the lead when a 40-metre surge by Loch Linton Brick contributed to a try by centre Murray Brown, with Rayburn adding the extras. As the game entered its final quarter, home wing Hamish Barber nipped in for a try in the right corner, and Rayburn again converted, while good handling produced a bonus point try for centre Lewis McLennan. For that try, the home back row had cut a swathe through the visiting defence, and when that recipe was repeated, it was fitting that flanker Ewan Jackson Sr. scored the try for Rayburn to convert. With 76 minutes on the clock, Gordonian flanker Jared White scored their second try from a tap penalty quickly taken close to the Peebles line. However, the home side ended the scoring when David Anderson finished another handling move with a try in the right corner. Rayburn converted, making the final score Peebles 46, Gordonians 18.
In National 3, Berwick had a very tough task ahead of them with a trip to take on unbeaten Hillhead Jordan Hill, but they did it by 32 points to 22. Into the East Leagues now, and in Division 1, a very difficult match for Duns on the road at Royal High. It was a loss by 81-24. Here's captain Dave Hutchison with reaction to that defeat.
The scoreline probably doesn't reflect the game today. They were huge. They were a big physical side, and we were scrambling around last night trying to find a couple of boys to play. But fair play to the young lads that did. We got a bonus point out of the game, which was really, really encouraging, and the young lads wanted to go and play rugby. In attack, we looked really, really good with the ball in hand. Angus Spinner got his first today, which was really good. Josh Herbert crashed over for a couple as well. And yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. We're getting there. We are getting there. It's going to be a long, hard road, but it's a young side. So we're kind of hoping that, with a couple more years, everyone's going to stick together, and yeah, we'll go forward from here.
Langholm lost their unbeaten record in East League 2 last weekend. They're back at Milntown though, and Ewan Welsh went along to see how they got on against Leith.
The wind and rain made conditions far from ideal for either team, and in the opening exchanges it was tough for either of the sides to break the gain line. Leith did, however, manage to kick 2 penalties, with the second coming just as the game ticked towards the half-hour mark, leaving Langholm trailing by 6 points. The remainder of the first half was dominated by the men from the Muckletoon, and they eventually got on the scoreboard when they exploited an overlap on the far side and Jonathan Wilkes touched down for the first try of the match. Nathan Smith converted, and it looked as though the Borderers would head into the break with the advantage. However, Leith managed to score another penalty to nudge themselves into a 2-point lead at the interval. After the break, it was Leith who took control of the game when they ran in a converted try, and things got worse for Langholm when Joe Kirkup receives a yellow card, leaving the Borderers 9 points adrift and a man in the bin. The yellow card did, however, seem to ignite a flame in the Langholm attack, and they managed to get back within touching distance when Alistair Cavers scored in the corner. Unfortunately, Nathan Smith couldn't find the uprights with his conversion, and so the home side went hunting a match-winning try as they sat 4 points adrift with only a few minutes remaining. Despite a lot of vocal support from the home crowd and a few promising-looking line breaks, the Leith defence held resilient, and when the final whistle sounded, the men for the capital celebrated ecstatically after claiming their hard-earned victory over a physical Langholm side. Full-time at Milton, Langholm 12, Leith 16.
Also in Division 2, Hoyk-Lindeen had a home match against Inverleith. Here's Gary Alexander.
Hoyk-Lindeen returned to winning ways with a bonus point victory over Inverleith at the Volunteer 3G. They got off to a dream start as a charge down by Jack Wilson in the second minute saw the skipper plunge over for the opening try. Jamie Tucker replied soon after with a penalty for the visitors, and then on 26 minutes scrum half Ewan Wood squeezed over to put the Lindeen 10-3 ahead. Mark Cayley took one for the team when too many penalties saw the Lindeen middle row depart for 10 minutes. Inverleith looked to be over from a scrum 5 but were deemed to be held up. They made no mistake, however, from their next opportunity from a similar position as Seb Jablonski touched down. Right on the interval, the Lindeen spread the ball wide. Matthew Mallon made a half break and threw a lovely pass to Craig Glendinning for the winger to go flying in at the corner to stretch the home lead to 15-8 at the break. Having struggled against their stuffy Inverleith pack in the first period, especially at scrum time, the Royal Blues started to get more ball for their backs. From a tap penalty, Mallon cut back blind and ran round the outside defence for a superb individual try. Midway through the second period, the Lindeen ran another penalty, and good handling found Cayley, who took the scoring pass to plunge over. Inverleith hit back straight away when Stu McCulloch claimed a touchdown from short range, followed by Matthew Huggan becoming the second home player to see yellow after a ruck infringement. With time nearly up, a Lindeen attacking scrum was put under pressure, but replacement scrum half Alex Beveridge cleaned up and shot round the blind side to dive over in style to complete the scoring. Final score from the Volunteer Park, Hoyk-Lindeen 30, Inverleith 15.
In the third division, Earlston went down to runaway leaders Dalkeith by 69 points to 0. Gala YM had some good news to celebrate at last. They were away at Liberton and they won that game by 27 points to 3.